Tacoma.
Hey, Tacoma.
We are definitely not in the TV classroom
We're not in
today.
the TV classroom today.
We're not. We are here on location down at the Point Defiance Marina Boathouse and the Point Defiance Park. And today, we're going to be doing a lot of investigating for all of our grade levels.
All of our grade levels.
We're going to talk about biomimicry,
biodiversity,
interdependence,
forces in motion.
It's going to be amazing. And we're going to see how our whole world works together. Now, just a moment ago, a ferry took off. You can kind of see it in the distance. We're hoping a little bit later we'll be able to look at that ferry and talk about the forces that are being put upon that ferry to get it moved or to make it stay still.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to go down to the beach. We're going to look and see what we can find in some of the tidal zones.
Yeah.
We're going to look and see what kind of animals live in that ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to go up into the forest. And we're going to look and see what kind of animals we can find there. And see if we can find any animals we mimic as humans to solve problems. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be
Now,
awesome.
before we begin, you need to make sure you have something to write on. Either your writing journal, a science notebook. I brought my whiteboard and pen so that we can make observations and make them really big so you can see them. I think we should get started.
I think so.
Are you ready, friends?
Oh.
Check in.
Check in.
We have to check in.
We're so excited.
This happens with science. I forget to check in with our zones.
I know. It's still important.
Let's check in with our zones today. How's your brain feeling? How's your body feeling? How are your emotions feeling? Take a look at the chart and give it a moment to think about it. Miss Allison, how are you feeling?
I'm in the green zone. I feel really good to go because, again, I feel like this has just been a common theme this week. Like, I slept really well last night. I had a good breakfast. And being outside with the fresh air and the sunshine just puts me in the green zone good to go.
Yep.
How are you feeling?
I'm mostly in the green zone. My brain is feeling a little jumbled today. And some days, we've talked about this, that my brain sometimes gets jumbled. So if my words come out funny today, I'll just correct them.
There we go.
But it's a little in the yellowy jumbled zone, but I'm pretty much in the green zone.
Okay.
I'm good to go. All right, friends. We'll see you in the next clip. We started coming up into this forested area because I saw this tree stump over here. And it's starting to look decomposed. And in our forest, we talked about that decomposed tree stump. And so I thought we'd go take a look at it. But then as we were climbing up, Miss Oslin found something. What'd you find, Miss Oslin?
Well, as I was walking up, I noticed that there's holes in this hill as we go up. And that made us think that there must be
some kind of creature that
something in
lives
there.
In that hole. Interesting, yeah, because I see another one here and another one right there. And it's like in a mound.
So I'm wondering if we're right here, right as we go into the forest, what kind of animal we would see here.
Well, if I think about my diagram, on that bottom part of the forest, we saw things like rats.
We did.
Squirrels,
mice.
chipmunk, mice. I bet it's some kind of rodent. Would be my guess. And I know that those rodents kind of burrow underground to live. So that would make sense that they would kind of have a little home all built here. Should we go look at that log?
Yeah, let's see if we can find some decomposers over there.
Yeah, let's go look. There are little pokey burrs that look just like the burrs that were on the dog that helped us figure out Velcro.
Velcro.
So there's where we mimicked Velcro from, was things that are spiky that stick to us. That's how they figured it out.
I wonder why this plant uses pokey things like that, little spikes on it. How does that help it?
I don't know.
That's a big piece of bark.
Look at that hole in there.
Yeah, and then I see a little bug. Do you see that bug in there? He's shiny, he's not moving. As we're doing things today, what we want you to do is to jot down what you see. Draw a picture of it, write questions you have.
Make predictions.
Make predictions about why you think it is. Or what we might use it for. I wonder, Miss Oz, I'm going to try and put this back where I found it. I wonder if under this log, if you could pull it up.
Now we're being very careful not to disturb nature too much.
Right. So notice we're not just coming and moving everything. We're being really aware of where things were because it's these animals' homes. Oh, you know what I'm seeing right here on this log is a ton of spider webs.
Yeah.
I wonder if we need to get deeper into the woods.
I definitely see a lot of crawly bugs on this.
Oh, can you bring it up to the camera so we can see it? Yeah.
Down in here.
Oh, there's a worm.
a worm.
A worm right there.
Oh, there's a snail?
Oh, look at that snail. So we've seen a bug, we're not sure what kind it is, a worm, a snail. That's 3 different types of animals just on this log. Think about the diversity of animals here that we've already seen on this log. We've seen an insect, we've seen a slug, a worm, we see plants growing. There's some moss growing here, all on this dead piece of wood that's decomposing.
And that's just what we can see.
Right, I bet if we had like underneath a microscope, we'd be able to see so much more. But also, I want to talk about how this slug has mimicked this wood. Look at the color of the slug. It's found a spot in the wood that is the same color. Okay, so what's really interesting is we're climbing up further into the forest. We saw this water, but there's no water up above it. It's just like coming out of the ground. Why do you think that is?
Well, I'm thinking about what I know about the water cycle and groundwater and how, first of all, I know about forces is that water is going to flow downward.
Right, so it's not going to go flow uphill.
It's not going to flow uphill.
Because gravity pulls it down, so that's a more powerful force than the pull up. Okay.
And it's going to flow down. And Mrs. Wally and I were talking about how interesting it is that we have 2 seemingly very different
ecosystems.
But they're clearly connected by this groundwater.
So Mr. Kevin's going to pan down for you and show you where this groundwater is flowing to.
Think about how they're similar or different.
And then take a look. You can see the wetness on the pavement. That groundwater is flowing into the Puget Sound or the Salish Sea, which we're going to be going there next.
Okay, friends, as we're making our way up into the forest, we continue to get stopped and distracted by so many different types of organisms. And as we were walking, we passed this pile of deer scat. And deer was not something that was on our input chart, but deer are certainly a great example of a primary consumer. They come along and they eat, and I noticed that there's lots of thorny blackberry bushes, and I know deer like berries, and they like really delicate leaves and flowers, and I know that because they come and eat out of my garden.
They do. They eat the apples off our apple trees.
Yes. So we have our primary consumer here of our deer, and they come down to eat and defecate and then go back up into the forest where they live.
And that defecation actually acts as fertilizer for all of these plants to help them grow and be healthy and nutrients for those primary consumers. So that the secondary consumers, thinking about a deer, like a bear or a cougar, might eat
the deer.
Yeah.
All right, friends, as we were coming up the trail deeper into the forest, we're coming up into a different type of ecosystem up here.
Yeah, we're seeing different things up here than we did down lower.
So what I was doing was I was coming up the hill and I saw underneath a fallen part of a tree, and there's different types of fungi. They're different colors and they're bigger than what we saw down closer to the water. So I was looking up under here, but then right in here, they're kind of a rust color with white underneath.
It's really interesting. And then up on the tree further, right behind Miss Oslin, is another kind.
Okay, friends, as we were coming back down the hill, we stopped and we noticed that there's some seashells here in the dirt. And I noticed that the shells are broken up. They're not in whole pieces. But we're not on the beach where the shells would, where the animals within these shells, the clams, would have been living. So take some think time. How do you think these got here?
I'm wondering, I think about animals. I know birds. I've seen birds with like clams in their beaks before. So I'm wondering if they were out there in the ocean, in the Salish Sea, brought them here to eat them away from their predators.
Oh.
But I also know children really like seashells.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if some children found them and brought them up.
Oh.
But they don't look like, I mean, they're all broken up, which makes me think someone was eating.
That's what I was thinking.
Because children like to collect whole seashells and put them in a little pile.
And then they them and add them to their treasure boxes.
Yeah. So I'm more inclined to think that it was maybe something eating it, which now is bringing part of that ecosystem into this one.
So there's an interdependence between the forest and the sea. Here we are at the high tide zone over the Salish Sea. And as Mrs. Wally and Mr. Kevin and I were walking, we saw this rock. And we noticed that it has some sort of plant, several different types of plants growing off it. But also, if you'll remember,
Barnacles.
barnacles.
So friends, here on this bulkhead wall in the high tide zone, on the wall, you can see some of the different types of barnacles. And then right here, it's so small.
So small.
But it's the periwinkles. It's amazing. And you can see all the barnacles. Some are open, some are closed. You can also see some of the plant life. And then we saw these little shells, and they move. You can move them, and when I touched them, then they like suck down onto the wall further. I'm gonna do some investigating of what that creature is because I don't know what it's called. So if you can figure it out, awesome, send it in to us, and I'm gonna do some research. And during our next, fifth graders, during our next time, I will let you know what those are called. But they're really cool, and sometimes they like squirt water out.
Yeah, that was neat.
You can see water dripping down from this one. See if I can get any. Oh, that one's starting to drip water. Yeah. See? Interesting. I don't want to disturb them too much.
That squirted.
Yeah, so it's protecting itself.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
pretty amazing.
This reminds me of suction cups.
Yes.
I'm thinking about how these are stuck to the wall, and I'm thinking about how the force must be pulling it down.
Yeah.
But it's not because it's stuck.
I wonder if this is where we got the idea for suction cups.
Biomimicry.
If not, it would be another way to find that. That's amazing. Great connection, Miss Oslin.
Hi friends, here we are at the Point Defiance Marina, and we wanted to point out this sign here. It says, keep wildlife wild, that feeding can lead to human injury, animal overpopulation, and disease. Feeding is illegal. We encourage you to come down here and enjoy this free park. There's many around Tacoma, but it's very important that you encourage and allow the animals to exist in their own natural environment and not interrupt the interdependence that's happening with the animals and their food chains by not feeding them. And also leaving them here so that everyone's here to enjoy them.
We've been really careful while we've been out here. If we moved some moss, we put it right back where we found it. We didn't want to trample on things. We were very careful about where we walked. So when you come to investigate and see all this biodiversity, which is amazing, make sure that you're also being a good steward of that and caring for it.
Friends, thank you so much for joining us here down at our Point Defiance Park in Tacoma. we're going to encourage you to come down here and explore all of the forces, the biodiversity.
See if you can find some biomimicry, like what we might have mimicked.
Yeah, thinking about the Salish Sea and the interdependence of the different organisms and ecosystems. Come explore.
And before we leave, we need to do our affirmation.
Oh my goodness. Our affirmation today, we did I am a scientist this week, and today I just want to reinforce that I can be observant.
Yes.
I can go out into the world and see nature and see science all around me. So let's all take a deep breath and say that together. I can be observant. Excellent job today, all of our kindergarten through 5th grade friends. We hope you have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you back here next time in our TV classroom.
Bye, friends.
Bye.